Hello, folks. I just wanted to take this time to talk. Well, let's be honest. I just want to take this time to rant about the Xbox One. Oh, well, look at this. This guy's got an internet channel and he wants to give his unique intellectual interpretation of what's going on with the Xbox One. You're a unique snowflake. Yes, I know everyone and their mother's doing this. I don't think I have any kind of unique interpretation or unique spin on what's going on. But god damn it, this issue is annoying the piss out of me. It's my goddamn channel, and I can do what I want. So here you go. Just as a fair warning, there will probably be way more swearing in this video than even my regular videos. You have been notified. So as a little preamble here, because I know I will probably get a few messages regarding this. I am not a fanboy of any console. I have the 360, the PS3, and the very neglected Wii. I honestly don't use them very much. PS3 gets used far more often than my Xbox. This is true, but 99% of the time is to watch Blu-rays or Netflix. I don't really play much on the consoles. I am a PC gamer, as anyone who frequents my channel knows. So anyway, on to the big Microsoft Xbox One reveal. They talked a whole lot over an hour and said pretty much nothing. A lot of the things we knew were going to happen, or at least strongly speculated were going to happen. It's going to have a Kinect. It's going to come with a Kinect. They're still pushing the Kinect down everybody's throats as if we actually want the fucking thing. And I don't think there's anyone over the age of 8 who is actually like, yes, a Kinect. It's going to be continuing. Oh, it's improved now. It will actually understand my movements instead of me just having to flail about randomly like I did with the last Kinect. Now, I do love voice. I'll say this. The thing I like about Kinect is voice. I love being able to do things via voice commands. I do it on my Android phone all the time. And I would think being able to say like Xbox on or Xbox open this game, that's great. I think that's a cool feature. All the video shit, nobody gives a damn about. Well, you know, they just need time to perfect it. No. There's a few games I could see this working with. Somebody mentioned a new black and white game. Now, that would actually make sense. But let's be honest, it's going to end up being shoehorned into games where it has no place being, and it's going to suck balls. But let's forget that. Let's talk about the two main questions everybody had going into this that, of course, they didn't bother to answer. The first question being, will I be able to play used games? Apparently, Microsoft doesn't even know the answer to this question because they keep giving separate answers. So, Major Nelson on his site, and I'm pulling it up now so I can quote it if I could find the goddamn thing. Okay, here is what Major Nelson said on his website. We know there's some confusion around used games on Xbox One and wanted to provide a bit of clarification on exactly what we've confirmed today. While there has been many potential scenarios discussed, today we have only confirmed that we designed Xbox One to enable our customers to trade in and resell games at retail. Beyond that, we have not confirmed any specific scenarios. Take note of that statement, by the way. He finishes by saying another piece of clarification around playing games at a friend's house. Should you choose to play your game at your friend's house, there's no fee to play the game while you are signed in to your profile. That's pretty important. Now, about 30 minutes before that, let's see, what's his name? Phil Harrison spoke with Eurogamer, it looks like. And let me give you some of his quotes and tell me if you can spot a few conflicts between these two statements from Microsoft. So think about how you use a disc that you own an Xbox 360 game. If I buy the disc from a store, I use that disc in my machine. I can give that disc to my son, and he can play it in his 360 in his room. We both can't play at the same time, but the disc is the key to playing. I can go around to your house and give you that disc, and you can play on that game as well. While what we're doing with the digital permissions that we have for Xbox One is no different to that. If I'm playing on that disc, which is installed on the hard drive on my Xbox One, everyone in my household has permission to use my Xbox One. Everyone who has permission to use my Xbox One can use that piece of content. I can give that piece of content to my son, and he can play it on the same system. On the issue of having to pay a fee... Oh, wait, that's not quote. Sorry. His next quote. I can come to your house, and I can put the disc into your machine, and I can sign in as me, and we can play the game. At the end of the play session, when I take my disc home, even if I leave it with you, if you want to continue to play the game, then you have to pay for it. The bits are already on your hard drive, so it's just a question of going to our online store and buying the game, and then it's instantly available to play. The bits that are on the disc, I can give to anybody else, but if we both want to play it at the same time, we both have to own it. That's no different to how discs operate today. Now, anyone who can read between the lines there, you don't have to read between the lines, knows that's bullshit, because the obvious scenario he completely ignored was, let's say I want to let my friend borrow, I don't know, Bayonetta for the Xbox. So, yes, it's true that while he has the disc, I cannot play. However, he can still play it while logged into his profile. That is the one minor little scenario he didn't bother addressing, is you can't play unless you're logged in to that profile. So lending games to friends is gone. It is dead on the Xbox One. You cannot lend it to a friend unless you also give them your login information. And can you imagine the problems that could lead to, where maybe a not so scrupulous friend does something on your account he probably shouldn't, like change the password or delete your account, whatever, because he's pissed at you for whatever it is he does. So now you're going to call Xbox support, try to get your account back, and they're going to say, oh, you shouldn't have given out your account information. You see what I'm saying? Obviously, you shouldn't give your account information to anyone. I'm down with that. But the problem is, if you want your friend to be able to play that game, he has to be able to log into your account. So again, unless you feel free to give your friends your account information, game sharing is dead. Now they have said, so not my part of my issue here, and I apologize that I have a problem getting my thoughts out without stuttering at times. But my one of my issues here is they don't even know. The right hand doesn't know what the left is doing. You've got Major Nelson saying, oh, we've said that you can sell games online, trade your games, and we haven't said anything else. But then you had this guy, even before he made the post, give more specifics. So now you have a third guy in an interview with Adam Sessler talking about the same thing, and he pretty much confirms what this Harrison guy said, that if you want to play the game, you have to pay a quote unquote, and I'm making air quotes that you cannot see. You have to pay an quote unquote fee, and that fee is the price of the game. That's not a fee. A fee is like, well, I want to change my plane ticket, so they're going to charge me $20. If they charge me the entire price of the plane ticket to change the date or the destination, that's not a fee. That's a new fucking ticket. Same deal here. You're not paying a fucking fee. You're buying the game. And the fact that they dishonestly try to phrase it as a fee is I don't know, it's just sickening. It's just, this whole thing has been sickening to me, to be honest. And I know, oh my God, he's a game man, get over it. Look, we're gamers. Well, hopefully you're a gamer for listening to this. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be listening to this shit. But the same people who would say, oh, I can't believe you're getting pissed about that, are the same people who would get irate over some sports bullshit. Like, I don't know, their team lost on some bad ref call. Their team lost. Oh, that's fucking bullshit. We should fire that referee. Yeah, you remember the time that you did that? You look just as stupid to us as we do to you. So anyway, side rant, over. But back to what I was saying. The dishonesty in tap dancing around just fucking telling us the truth is infuriating. And I'll link the video in the description. Adam Sessler is interviewing, and I forgot the guy's name. It's a different guy. He has a funny last name. It's like, I forget who cares? It doesn't matter. I'll link it in the description. Go watch it and prepare to get pissed off, because he asks him a bunch of questions and the guy answers like one or two in true PR-esque fashion. He doesn't, and of course he doesn't answer any question directly. I think maybe he answers the one about cable boxes eventually directly, but he tap dances around it for like 2 or 3 minutes before he finally gives an answer. But he has the audacity, he has the fucking audacity to say, oh, there's been a lot of different information floating around about this always online business and this used game business. Of course there is. You fucking assholes refuse to answer the fucking questions. Of course there's different information going around. Not to mention your own goddamn employees can't give the same information. You give contradictory information from your own goddamn company, and you're like, well, I don't get why this different information's going around about our new console. How about you answer the goddamn questions and you won't have that fucking problem? How about that? How about if you went on stage and said, hey, you can't play your used console games, or if you want to trade this to a buddy, you have to buy the game again. Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't look good in a press release, so let's sweep that under the rug. Which, by the way, anytime you have a serious question like this, the always online shit, the used games, and they don't address it, you can usually assume the worst. Because look at Sony. Sony, when this whole used game thing came up, and people started to speculate that the PS4 wouldn't allow you to play used games, they came out pretty quickly and said, whoa, that's not true. Now, to my understanding, and I meant to search for this real quick, and then I kind of forgot, but to my understanding, they have not made a 100% clear statement either. So Sony is not completely in the clear on this either. As far as I know, at the time of this recording, they have not stated clearly that there will not be any kind of restrictions on used games. They have not stated, I don't believe, that they're not going to have a similar system, because the way they've worded things has been very careful. And anytime you're careful with your wording makes me worry. So again, Sony's definitely not off the hook here. Microsoft has just finally, in multiple ways, clarified slightly how this is going to work. Sony hasn't. So again, let's not let them off the hook here. But they have said you can play used games. But then, again, technically, you can play used games on the Xbox. You just have to rebuy them at maybe full price. Who knows? Now, obviously, publishers are going to love this. And this creates, and I'm going to kind of go a little tangent here because it's my goddamn channel. This does create a nasty tangent. Let's say Xbox goes ahead with their plan, which I don't see there's any reason for them to change it. And let's say Sony says, you know what? We're not doing any kind of restrictions on used games. Screw you, publishers. If Johnny Come Lately has, Bayonetta for PS4, Bayonetta 2 for PS4, hey, I can dream, and he wants to loan it to his friend Donnie down the street, no problem. There's not any kind of registration bullshit. There's no fees. There's no, you have to log into account. I just give him the disc. He goes home and plays the game normally. Kind of like how we've been doing for the last 30 fucking years of video games, right? So let's say they take that approach. Now, imagine that you're a video game publisher. You hate used games. You hate the ability for players to lend games to each other, because in your eyes, they're stealing that money from you, right? Or it's taking money. It's not used that extreme. They're playing the game without paying you, right? 2 people have played your game. Only one has paid for it. In your eyes, or at least in your bean counter's eyes, that's a lost sale, because theoretically, if that person wanted, let's say that Donnie person, the person you loaned the game to, they would have theoretically paid to play it themselves. So instead, they got the same exact experience I did, but they didn't pay for it, right? So that's money out of your pocket. And in their defense, games are ridiculously expensive these days. And I don't want to totally get off, and then that's a whole nother topic, but I at least want to hit up why this is even an issue, at least in the scenario that I'm painting right now. So you've got this situation, again, this hypothetical situation. PS4 is like totally fine with you as games. PS1, you basically have to buy the game again if you want to lend it out, loan it, whatever. Publishers are going to look at this and possibly say, well, we're going to get more money probably from the PS1, the 360, God damn it, the Xbox One. We're going to get more money because we know for sure that the players, that the users, that the consumers cannot buy used, they can't loan it out, any of that crap. If they want to play my game, they're going to have to buy it. Whereas, and Microsoft will throw money at us if we make it exclusive. Because, I mean, these exclusives don't happen by accident, folks. These non-in-house games that are exclusive, again, don't just happen. Almost always, if not always, Sony or Microsoft, whoever, throws money at that developer and says, hey, please, just make this exclusive forever on our console. Excuse me. So it's a double win for them, right? They get more money from the sales, and they'll probably get money from Microsoft for being exclusive. So this can hurt the PS4's library because there might be less publishers willing to make that sacrifice. Now, the counterpoint to that is, well, what if less people buy the Xbox One over the PS4 because of these limitations? Now, that's going to be an interesting thing to play out. We can hypothesize all day long. Theoretically, I would love for people just not to buy the Xbox One, and I would love to see people buy the PS4, and these publishers to see that the consumer is not willing to take it up the ass, and they're just going to go side with Sony this generation. If, again, in this hypothetical scenario where PS4 lets you play used games with no problems, I would love for them to get the message and see that, wow, our game is actually selling more on the PS4 than on the Xbox because there's more PS4s out there, right? Does that make sense? And for this to just get crushed. Realistically, do I see that happening? I don't know. Frankly, most consumers are fucking morons. And to put that in a lighter tone, most people who buy these consoles are uninformed. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. Most people don't give a shit. I mean, the people like you and me, the folks listening to this right now, we love this shit, right? We eat it up. We're really interested. We were watching the feed either on TV or on our computer or on our phones. I mean, shit, me and my friends, guys I used to work with, we were watching the damn, the conference on our phones in the car on the way back from lunch because we really wanted to see what's up. People like us are the exception, not the rule. Most people just want the console. They want to buy it. They, play games sometimes. They don't care about all the press conferences and all this other shit. I mean, if you sell somebody Xbox One, they're like, oh, is that out yet? I mean, they don't know. Again, they don't follow it like us. I mean, there's a million different examples of different hobbies where some people follow it, on the dot, and the rest of us are like, yeah, that's a new thing, I think. So the question is, do these people who don't follow this and just buy whatever, are they just going to buy the Xbox and not know any of this going in? Which, this video is going to be 2 hours long because I keep wanting to get sidetracked with all the different issues. But hopefully some of you will find this entertaining, if not somewhat informative, maybe give you something to think about. Because another thing I've considered, and again, I'm not unique in this, I know, is what's going to happen. And again, we're still using the same hypothetical from before, PS4 being okay with used games. Person going and buying the Xbox One, again, they just want to play Madden, they just want to play Halo, they want to play Call of Duty, whatever. the general consumer, they go and buy Xbox One, assuming things are pretty much the same as a 360. You know, maybe the graphics are better, a little more features, whatever. They go and buy it, and then, you know, they buy a game, and they go to trade it in to get something different when they're done, because this is what they've always done. So they go back to GameStop and they're like, oh, I want to trade this game in. Well, we don't take trade-ins from the Xbox One anymore because it's not profitable for us, right? Because what's the point? Why would GameStop give you money? Because the person buying your used game is going to have to pay GameStop, take it home, and then pay whatever fee, quote unquote, to Microsoft or whoever to reactivate the game. So they're either not going to, they're not either going to take trade-ins, or they're going to pay you even less than they do now. You thought you were getting hosed, getting $30 back from a $60 game? Wait until you're getting $5 back or $10 back from that brand new $60 game. But anyway, regardless, back to this person who has now turned in whatever game and is like, oh, you know, I want to trade this in. Well, they're not either going to be able to do it, or they're going to get a really crappy value. And when they buy this used game, even if that's possible anymore, they're going to be told, oh, by the way, when they go and put it in their game at home or their system at home, they're going to be, oh, by the way, now you have to pay us again to play this. Can you imagine the reaction from these folks? Because regardless of the labels on the box, the fine print, whatever, regardless of what Microsoft tells Walmart and Best Buy and GameStop, the employees aren't going to tell every single customer that they can't play used games without rebuying it. That's not going to happen. These folks, a lot of these folks, especially the ones at like Walmart and Best Buy, don't give a shit. They're just going to sell it to the customer, and that's it. You know, have a nice day. Get out of here. Next. They're not going to tell them, okay, you know, you can't buy used games. You have to pay a fee, blah, 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 blah. Not going to happen. So these people are going to get home, discover this after a week or two, and be outraged. So I think that is going to be very interesting to watch if, and quite frankly, when it's going to happen. I can't imagine that not happening on a pretty large scale because, again, we are the minority. I strongly feel we are the minority, those of us who keep up with this kind of information. So, yes, that's going to be quite interesting to watch, I think. Now let's talk about the always online shit. Again, we've been getting different information, even though for the most part it meshes. The bottom line with the online thing is this. You do not technically have to be online all the time. However, if you want to play every day, then, and again, different numbers have been thrown out because Microsoft can't get their shit together. The understanding is that you have to be at least able to log in once every 24 hours to, I guess, verify that you're legitimate. Which I'm guessing is probably a hit towards the oft unmentioned piracy crowd of Xbox. People talk about piracy on PC games, and I will definitely grant that it's almost certainly far worse on PC. But there is a strong pirate market for Xbox 360 and PS3 games. It definitely exists. So I'm guessing this is their strike against that you do have to check once every 24 hours to get online. So let's say I boot up my Xbox, I boot up Watch Dogs, and it checks, it verifies everything, whatever. I play the game, I lose internet. I'll still be able to play, again, theoretically, because that check has already been made. So no problem there. It does look like they avoided this stupid always online. So, I mean, I guess props for not doing something really stupid. It's kind of sad when we have to go, hey, good job for not being a complete moron. But anyway, so let's... But even that information has not been specific. And again, in that video, I strongly advise, by the way, after you finish watching this, to watch that Adam Sessler video. He did throw him some softballs. Unfortunately, I'll be frank, I'm not really a fan of Adam Sessler at all. And, you know, for some, I'll give him a little credit for throwing him softballs because he knows goddamn good and well. If he holds their feet to the fire, he'll never get an interview again. So I think the questions he asked were good, though. I'll definitely give him that. I think the questions he asked were good, and I think they got the information out of them that he mostly needed to, or that at least that they would be willing to give, even if it was indirectly. So, props on that. Anyway, go watch his interview. It's very telling, at least to me. But at any rate, the guy, again, was talking about, well, we're kind of getting hung up in all these details about how often does it need to connect and blah, blah, blah. Of course we're getting fucking wanting details, you stupid fuck. This is the release of your goddamn console. Of course we want the fucking details. Like, what kind of goddamn response is that? I don't know why people are getting hung up on the details. We're getting hung up on the details, but yet you try to sell us 5 billion transistors as a selling point? Are you out of your fucking mind? So you're going to tell us 5 billion transistors because that's what matters. Oh, I was interested in the PS4, but it only has 4.5 billion transistors. Thank God we've reached the next fucking level. 5 billion transistors. Woo! Woo! 5 billion. I swear to God, transistors are going to be the blast processing of this generation. And it worked. I mean, the Genesis had blast processing. The Super Nintendo did not have blast processing. And if you know your history, you remember Genesis kicked the shit out of the Super Nintendo. The sales were through the roof. I mean, the Nintendo was struggling. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It was the complete fucking opposite. Nobody gave two fucking shits about this blast processing or whatever the fuck it was. Like, the fact that they put 5 billion transistors on there, that blew my mind. It's like, you might as well have said something like, our motherboards are green. We went to blue. We've changed it to blue, folks. Blue motherboards. This is amazing. Next gen dogs. Anyway, so he's like, well, people getting hung up on the detail. This is an important fucking detail for some people. And I know what you want to type out. Let me fucking beat you to the point. Well, everybody has high-speed internet, access to the internet these days. I don't see why it's a problem. Not fucking everybody does. I do. I'm lucky enough to have pretty consistent connection to the internet. So I am lucky there. There's people who do not. There are still people, and a lot of them, not just in America, but in, other countries. I know, blows your fucking mind. There's other countries out there other than America, but who do not have this consistent connection to the internet. And there's a lot of people, and again, probably in countries that aren't the United States, that have data caps. So depending on how much information the Xbox is wanting to use, this can be a problem for them. That doesn't even talk about the people who, for whatever reasons, can't get to the internet from where they are going to play. Military personnel. You think the government is going to be like, oh yeah, we've got this private firewall. We're going to let Xbox connect through it, though. Ask any personnel who are stationed overseas, and maybe even in America, for talking about U.S. military, and I'm sure other militaries are the same way. They're not going to be like okaying the Xbox Live shit to go through. That's not going to happen. So yes, for you, it probably doesn't matter. But there's a lot of folks who do. And again, there's times where either you don't have internet, or maybe where the Xbox is, maybe it's inconvenient. Oh, but you can just get wireless. I'm sure wireless will be built in to the Xbox. Oh, no, it probably fucking won't. You will probably have to pay $50 or whatever outrageous fee they want to charge for a wireless adapter for your fucking Xbox One. I did warn you there was going to be a lot of swearing, by the way. So I don't want to hear any complaints. And this is a rant video because I really feel Microsoft has fucked this up. Like, and it's I don't know why I'm getting so angry about it, because I'm not even a console gamer. I can't remember the last game I played to completion on a console. Actually, well, no, I honestly can't remember. I can't remember the last game I've played to completion on a console. But I still get into the hype, though, man. I'm a gamer still. I love the whole like midnight release thing, and I like getting hyped about the new the new shit, you know? It's just a thing, right? It's a gamer thing. Again, most of you out there who are listening probably know what I'm talking about. So I still wanted the new Xbox to be good. I want there to be competition, right? Even if I prefer my PlayStation, which I do, I still want the next Xbox to be good, because when people don't understand, competition is good. You want the other products to be good. For example, I'm an Android man. I hate iPhones. I've used them. I find them grossly overrated. However, I want the new iPhones to be good. Why? Because when Apple makes a good iPhone and makes cool new things that you can do with your iPhone, that raises the bar for Google to make Android even better. And when Android becomes better, your iPhone's going to be better, and so forth, so on and so forth. So this competition, no matter what it is a great thing. Again, even if you don't like the other thing, you want them to still be decent, because otherwise the reality is your favorite thing is going to start dragging its feet and not really giving a shit. So yeah, I wanted this to be good, and make no mistake, it's fun to rant, it's fun to hate on things, but I still didn't want it to be terrible. Yes, Sony didn't show the PS4 itself. And while I think that was a really stupid move on their part, who gives a shit? We're going to see it. It's going to be a box. We're going to put discs in it. We're going to plug shit into it. We're going to throw it on a table and barely look at it. So, you know, again, I was right there saying, how fucking stupid is this to not show it? I was right there. But that pales in comparison to the bullshit that this was. I mean, they talked about TV and Skype and sports 3/4 of the fucking time that they were up there. Like, who is watching this press conference for a game console that's like, oh, thank God, I can watch TV and sports on my TV now. That's never fucking happened before. Oh, wait, we've had cable boxes for goddamn ever. It's like, so what's the big deal? It's like, well, now you can do it through your Xbox. Oh, cool. So I don't have a cable subscription anymore. Well, no, you still have to have a cable subscription, but you could do it through your Xbox. Oh, okay. So instead of having to just grab my remote and click source one time and switching over, I can do it through the Xbox. Hell yeah. Woo! New generation. Yeah. It's like, you know what? From a convenience standpoint, that's fine. But this is a bullet point. This is not, to me, and I'm not a TV person, I will freely admit, but to me, this is a fucking bullet point. This is not what you center your entire presentation around, right? It's like, and I know I'm picking on Apple here, but it's like when they announce a new phone or a laptop, and they're like, it's 0.2 ounces lighter, and they harp on it like a long time. It's like, who gives a shit? It's like, who's gonna notice half a fucking ounce difference in the weight of something? This is the same thing. They're harping on this thing that you could already do. That's just a bit easier with the Xbox, because I can say, Xbox, watch porn. You know, I mean, that's cool and all, even though it's going to be a little weird when the Kinect records you fapping and puts it on YouTube. But, and again, it's cool, but it's not what I want to hear. Even if they didn't talk about specific games, I want to know what's really cool about the Xbox One. What's really sexy about the Xbox One? What really makes the Xbox One make the developers salivate? What about the Xbox One makes me as a gamer think this is totally different than what the PS4 is offering? And the answer from that conference was nothing. We can't do anything different than the PS4, except save you 2 clicks on your television remote. That's what I picked up from them. And, you know, if you're in the FIFA, you know, that's a big deal. I understand in Europe, FIFA is pretty much everywhere that's not America. FIFA is a big deal, and I understand. I think it's going to be exclusive, or maybe a timed exclusive. I'm not sure. So, you know, if you're into that, then, you know, you're pretty much, and if that's true, then yes, you're going to have to buy an Xbox One. That's fine. But again, for us, for the general audience, who cares? I think I think the telling thing, or the takeaway, again, sorry for stuttering, the takeaway from that conference to me was Xbox doesn't give a shit about the core gamer anymore. They are targeting Joe Blow user who's maybe never even had a console before, and wants a voice remote, and to maybe have more interaction with his sports and his his fantasy football team, and like that's now their target. I guess and on some level that's always what Microsoft wanted from the beginning. I remember when the original Xbox was coming, they talked about being a centerpiece of every living room, and this is kind of the fruition of that goal. But along the way, I feel that they've lost the core gamer market, and maybe this will work for them. Maybe Grandpa, and maybe the frat boy, and maybe Mr. Football Superfan. Maybe they're like, oh hell yeah, this looks great. This is what I want, and they'll never put a single game into the system. They'll never buy a single game. Maybe a football game or a Football Manager game, but they'll never buy a game for it. And maybe Microsoft is fine with that. I don't know. Maybe they're thinking, like cable companies often do, get the box in their house and we'll make more money off of them. Person buys it for a Blu-ray player. Person buys it because of some of the cool sports packages it might have exclusive to Xbox. And then they're hoping that same user who's never played a video game since he was 8 years old will think, well, I've already got the system. I'll buy this Madden game. I've heard that's cool and I love football, so I'll buy this. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. But they definitely do not seem to be targeting gamers anymore. And we'll see more at E3. I realize that they're going to announce games at E3, but I don't know, it's just disheartening to see that they're more bowing to publishers than trying to cater to what the gamers want and the gamers need. They're more than happy to stick it to the gamers by doing this online horse shit and the used game bullshit than come to us. And that's not even to talk about the indie stuff. Apparently, indie games still will not be able to self-publish on the Xbox One, which is a real shame. They really seem to just be giving the middle finger to indie developers. And I don't know if they missed the memo, but indie games are a big trend right now. And I've said multiple times that I think a lot of games are overrated. However, I do think it's an important movement, and I do think it's gaining steam. And there's lots, despite my previous statement, there are still lots of really good indie games, but Microsoft doesn't seem to just give a shit. They're like, yeah, you still can't self-publish. Sorry, tough shit. While Sony, on the other hand, seems to be bending over backwards to try to get indies. I think Sony is doing everything mostly right. I'm not going to say everything right. They're mostly doing right. I'm not going to say everything until they come clean and tell us, more details about the used games and all that. But I think they're going in the right direction. They focus their conference on games. Let's talk about games. That's what I want to hear. I'm a fucking gamer. I want to hear about your games. I want you to tell me why the system's going to be better for games. Yes, some of the features, I'm not going to really care about, like the share button, but I still think it's important. And seriously, you play for your streaming? Are you fucking or you stream? Sorry, not you play. That's an Ubisoft thing. But you stream for streaming? Guys, come on. Ustream is the MySpace of live streaming video games. If you're gonna do live streaming, Twitch. That's it. Twitch or go home. There's nobody else. And maybe they're hoping, well, since you can only share PS3 games through Ustream, we'll make Ustream bigger. And it's not going to happen. We might come back to this video a year from now and Ustream is huge now and Twitch is, struggling to survive. But I don't see it. Twitch is hands down the game streaming site. There is no question there. But anyway, okay, sorry, I kept hearing this strange buzzing and it wasn't my phone or my vibrator. So I think they're going the right direction. If they could fix that god awful PSN interface, I think they'd be going. How do you have lag on your interface when it's not like you have multiple configurations of the PlayStation you need to worry about? Why is it laggy as shit when I'm navigating through your PSN? Fix that shit. Get your online crap up to par. You need to, at worst, your free online shit needs to be as good as Xbox Live Gold. If Sony can nail that and keep going the way they're going and not screw gamers with this used game shit, I honestly think Sony has a chance to make up for the PS3. The PS3 is not bad, but man, that launch, $600. You'll be glad to get a separate job for one of these bad boys. Yeah, that worked out well. That guy no longer worked for the company, but I really think that they could run away with this generation of gamers. I'm kind of hoping they do, because so far they seem to be more gamer centric than the Microsoft, which is madness to me that we're talking about game consoles and yet we actually need to argue about which one is more gamer focused. That's madness to me. But that's about it. Oh, on the online thing, the Xbox One, but again, they're not even giving us information on that. And the other problem, the problem I have with the online thing, and I'll draw this to a close because it's already been about 45 minutes. The online thing, the other very questionable thing they were talking about was being able to offload some of the processing to the cloud. Great idea. It worked super great for SimCity. But aside from that, that to me, and maybe I'm being cynical, I think I'm just being realistic. I think that gives publishers an excuse to say, oh, we require online because, some of this stuff is so intense that even the new Xbox can't keep up. So we have to upload it to the internet. So we have to have you connected to the internet all the time in order for our game to work. And what that really means is we're trying to combat piracy that happens on the Xbox. So we're going to put some trivial bullshit calculations on the server so that we can say we require you to be online. Like EA did with SimCity with their online DRM. And I don't give a shit how many times they say it. It was DRM, period. Because it was proven that you don't have to be online to play the game for 99% of what it does. So it's just a very unconsumer friendly. Actually, let me change that. I think it's a very ungamer friendly device. A lot of things we've taken for granted as, well, yes, this is the way it works, are totally being shat on. It's like the Xbox One is a move backwards, which is kind of fitting or ironic. I'm not sure which one of those, maybe both. That the 360 is ahead of the One. And by the way, the One is a stupid fucking name. Yes, I know the One means it's your one entertainment device. Though, by the way, you still have to have a cable box if you want to do the cable shit. And my understanding is a lot of the TV stuff requires yet another something else. Maybe they were talking about the cable box. Again, they're so goddamn ambiguous, it's hard to tell. But my understanding was at least some of that stuff, maybe it's just the sports, I don't know, requires another device. Again, maybe they mean something you have to buy from Microsoft. Maybe they mean just the cable box or your satellite box or whatever it is that you use. But again, they're so ambiguous, it's hard to tell because they refuse to stop tiptoeing around giving factual information that they think is negative. If you have to tiptoe around information you think is negative, it's bad. And you might want to rethink it. Just, crazy idea there. I think I'm going to kill my voice from all this yelling and bitching. But, oh, and also on the name, somebody mentioned, oh God, I think it was Adam Sessler. He was like, well, they call it the Xbox One because, this will be basically hinting that this will be the last one that you have to buy because a lot of the stuff can be upgraded via software. If you really think this is going to be the last Xbox you'll ever have to buy, then I have some oceanside property I would love to sell you in Wyoming because this will not. You can upgrade shit via software only so much. I don't know whatever could possess someone to think that this. Oh well, they'll just update it via software. Oh, they'll just upload it to the cloud. It's not gonna. You're not gonna be able to do that anytime soon. And make no mistake, I do think that the hardware curve, as far as the type of hardware you need to run really, really good looking graphics, I think the curve is starting to be less steep. In other words, I think the advances being made are smaller and smaller. So it's not a case of, oh, that video card's, 1 year old or even 2 year olds. Oh, it's archaic. You can still run on older cards, and especially on a closed system like the Xbox or the PlayStation, that's going to put out some pretty impressive shit. But eventually, you're going to need better hardware for either better AI or, more moving objects on the screen at a time, more physics crap, whatever. You're going to need new hardware. So don't think for a second that this is the last Xbox. It might be the last Xbox for a decade, but it's not going to be the last Xbox unless Microsoft just stops making them. But yeah, to even entertain the idea that all future updates will be possible by either software or by offloading it to the cloud is, I think, naive, to put it mildly. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. And I know Microsoft isn't listening to this, so it's completely pointless to say this, but man, just stop fucking jerking us around. Stop tap dancing around the truth. Stop saying, well, it kind of does this, but we're still working on the details, and well, a lot of devices have to be online all the time, so can you imagine buying a vacuum cleaner and it's like, oh, your internet connection's down, the vacuum cleaner doesn't work, and then you're like, hey asshole, why does my vacuum need to be connected? Well, a lot of devices are connected. Who gives a shit? By definition of what they do, they require internet. That's like saying, well, YouTube requires internet connection. Of fucking course it does. It has to. Forcing an internet connection for a game console is arbitrary. You do not have to have it by how it works. Look at the Nintendo, look at the Super Nintendo, or the Genesis, or the TurboGrafx 16, or the PS1. Any of that shit didn't have to have the internet. Again, unless the developers have some kind of built-in online shit that absolutely has to have it, I shouldn't have to have an internet connection just to power the thing on and play a fucking game. But again, anyway, I keep saying I'm going to stop, but then I keep going. So I'm going to finally stop it here. But yeah, give me your thoughts below. I just wanted to rant for a while. I've been blowing up people's Twitters for a while, so I thought I would give them a rest from having to read my bullshit. So I figured maybe you guys want to listen to my bullshit instead. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.